In part 1, we took a look at some of the more popular case options for your HTC One M8. We'll continue on and wrap things up here in part 2. First up is the Speck Candy Shell. The case has a non-removable dual layer design, made from hard plastic on the outside and soft rubber on the inside. It offers solid protection along with a nice design. The outer shell has a glossy surface, which looks nice and won't stain over time like some matte finishes do. However, it will scratch fairly easily. Speck cases I've owned in the past have looked terrible just after a few days of use. Also, the slick surface means grease and fingerprints will be more apparent. Getting this case in white does help with some of these issues, as scratches and fingerprints are much less noticeable. The case does offer a lay-on-the-table design thanks to the raised bezel along the front. I recommend using this feature when placing your phone down to further prevent scratching. The interior of the case is coated with a soft rubber material to cushion your M8. The rubber has also been injected into the four corners of the case. This helps further protect your phone from drops and prevents stress cracks from forming over time. Buttons are raised and have a soft but tactile feel to them. Cutouts are perfectly aligned and are trimmed with the same rubber found on the interior. I feel the Speck Candy Shell is a solid option for just about anyone. Its stylish yet functional design offers good looks and good protection in a relatively compact form factor. The fact that it's prone to scratching is a disappointment, but aside from that, the case does offer a number of advantages. Overall, it's a great choice for those looking for both form and function. You may remember in part 1 we took a look at the Speck Ultra Hybrid, a completely transparent case designed to show off the M8's build quality. Here we'll take a look at a case with a similar idea in mind. This is the Poetic Atmosphere. The case is made up of a semi-transparent plastic shell, accented with a TPU border. The hard plastic has a matte texture, which does a nice job of hiding fingerprints and small scratches. The TPU trim comes in a variety of colors and offers protection for your buttons and display, thanks to the lay-on-the-table design. It has a nice solid feel in the hand, and doesn't add a lot of bulk to your phone. You have ample cutouts for your camera as well as for the charging port and headphone jack. The power/IR blaster is also clear of obstruction. Now, I like the idea of this case, but after using it for a while, I've realized the execution of its design is far from perfect. First, the build quality isn't the greatest. There are numerous imperfections in the plastic shell. The translucent matte finish is ununiform and riddled with small blemishes. Also, the case is extremely difficult to remove. It's a tight fit, and the hard plastic has very little flex. Taking your phone out is a fight every time, and I wouldn't be surprised if the delicate finish of the M8 became damaged in the process. Another known problem has to do with the adhesion of the TPU bezel. With prolonged use, the trim around the front of the case has been known to tear away from the polycarbonate shell underneath. In closing, the Poetic Atmosphere is a low-cost case, and it's built like it too. It's got a few things going for it, but in the end, the bad far outweighs the good. And there are better options out there if you're looking for something like this. Finally, the last two cases in this review are made by HTC themselves. The HTC Dot View and Flip are both folio-style cases that share similar design languages. They both have the same polycarbonate shell surrounding the phone, including the same set of cutouts and the same method of hinging the front flap. But that's where the similarities end. The Dot View case has a stippled cover made of soft rubber. The grid of perfectly aligned holes allow you to see a set of specific display elements that you can interact with while the case is closed. On the Flip case, things are a bit more simplistic. All we get here is just a piece of rigid plastic wrapped in a textured fabric. The Dot View case's front cover is very springy and will slap closed once you let it go, so much so that it hinders usability in some situations. The Flip case is just the opposite. It doesn't have the same springiness to its hinge, and there's no resistance felt when opening it. However, there is still a problem. Since there's no tension on the flap, the case tends to lift off the phone's display. It's a common issue with folio cases and might lessen with some use. The only problem is that until it does, you may wake up your screen from time to time. The rear of both cases are made of plastic. They snap onto the phone using just the corners, leaving all but the hinge side of your M8 exposed. It looks nice and allows easy access to buttons, but offers little in the way of drop protection. cutouts for your dual camera, flash, and mic are of course going to be spot on, and the matte finish helps hide oil and fingerprints nicely. The dot view case offers much more in the way of added functionality. You're able to double tap to wake the phone, in which case you'll be presented with the time and current weather. You also have the option of seeing the most recent contacts. A downward swipe will bring up HTC's voice dialing, and an upward swipe allows you to accept an incoming call. With the Dot View app, you can apply different themes and toggle certain settings. And this is all really cool, except I hate it. For me, it's never worked the way I wanted it to. The touch gestures are way too sensitive, and I'm constantly activating the screen, making unwanted calls and draining my battery. When the cover is slipped all the way around, it has a tendency to deactivate my display, so I've resorted to turning off all the features when I use it now. To be honest, I'm not pleased with either of these cases. They both add varying degrees of functionality, but their designs seem rushed. Neither of them are comfortable to use, and in some cases can actually be the cause of you dropping your phone. So while they complement your HTC One nicely, and do offer some interesting features, for the higher than average price tag on both, I'm going to recommend that you pass. Well, that's going to do it for this one. I have more case reviews upcoming, so be sure to like, subscribe, and tune in next time. Till then, I'm Mike, and this was Novatech. Thanks for watching, everybody.